Hi, friends. Thanks for joining me for part 3 of the 4 aspects every Christian kid needs to have. So, I'm going to start off kind of with a continuation of part 2 because part 2 actually opens up part 3. So, this morning I had a conversation with a fantastic dad who's got a 8th grader who's the third best pitcher, I think, in the U.S. It was either in the state of Florida or in the U.S. He's already has coaches calling him, college coaches, and scouts following him, all kinds of crazy stuff. He is ridiculously good. Well, this boy is going to a local school here and wanted to join the baseball team because that's what he does, right? And so that way he could play with his friends and be able to, hang out with them a little bit. And so he just joined the team. They had their first game, and they got slaughtered. It was 23-0. It was so rough. And so the dad was sitting in the stands, and he said he was evaluating and said, you know what? I got to talk to my son tonight because these friends, although they're great and they like baseball, they're not going to help my son succeed. They're not going to help my son develop his gifts and become who he was created to be. Instead, they're going to, even though they're into baseball, they're going to pull him back and he'll start pitching softer, or so that they can have a game because the other team is actually hitting the ball every now and then, and things like that. Right now, his catcher can't even catch his pitches at his school games. So he's going to talk to his son about, hey, you know what? Even though they love and you love baseball, they're not the kind of people that are going to help you grow. And so we got to get you around people that are going to help you grow. Why don't we have conversations like that? Why don't we encourage our parents to have conversations like that with their kids? I mean, this should be one of the most basic things, helping kids develop their gifts and grow spiritually, and recognizing those that say they're Christian but they're not really out for growth. And so you don't want to pair at church the Christian kids with that are actually going after the things of God and really pressing in and want to develop their gifts with those who aren't. And we have to provide opportunities for those that want to develop and grow to be able to develop and grow, and not just hold them back so that we can keep everybody at the same level and we're going to teach the same things to everybody. I know you're like, how do you do that? Well, we'll talk about that. uh, I'm going to start off with one of my favorite verses that we use a ton in the 13-day volunteer campaign. If you haven't seen that, you got to check it out. Go to rootkidman.com/13 days, plural, and you'll see tons of tools to help build a volunteer team. And so we use this verse all the time. Ephesians 4:12, well, and 13 in the 13-day thing because that makes sense, but we're going to only hit Ephesians 4:12. Says this. Let me start off here. The big five in church, right? You have your apostles and your missionaries, right? You got your evangelists and your teachers and your pastors, and I'm missing one because I'm in the middle of a live broadcast. Oh wait, that's not so good. Anyway, the big five. You know what I'm talking about. We celebrate them in the church. We honor them. We look to them. But have you ever noticed the next verse tells what their purpose is? It's for the equipping of the saints for the works of service. That's what our role is supposed to be in the church. It's not so that we can do all the works of service for everyone and so that they can just sit there and relax and have some fun time. And no, we're supposed to be equipping the saints, equipping those in our congregations, regardless if it's children's ministry or youth ministry, college ministry, adult, whatever it might be. Just maybe small groups is maybe what you're over. We need to be all about equipping the saints for the works of service, not just entertaining them, not just filling their heads with some great info or some interesting things to know and about the Bible or about who God is, and that we need to be investing in them to develop those gifts so that they can do and be what God has created them to do. And so that causes us to evaluate ministry differently. If it's not just about teaching or training in theology, if it's not just about providing a space for, like in so many children's ministries, space for the kids to hang out and have fun at church while the parents get the real ministry. But if it becomes something where we are actively equipping kids to grow, to discover their gifts, and find out how God can use them inside the church, that's going to be a total different program for most of us. I hate the word program. A different perspective, mentality, really. It starts off there. We begin to evaluate what we're doing, not by what will create the most repeat visitors or get the kids talking about something wacky that happened at church. It may even be less fun. Am I allowed to say that when we're talking about church? Having it less fun? I know that's kind of like taboo language right there. But I gotta say, there's not too many times when I've been equipped that it's fun. Playing basketball, those practices where they're equipping me, not always fun. School and college or seminary, like I went to Rhema Bible Training Center, where they're equipping us for ministry, not always fun. Sometimes it looked like hard work. Sometimes I even felt like giving up or stopping this because I just can't do this anymore. But you know what? Pushing through those times equipped me to be the kind of person that God can trust, that God can use. And so we need to provide opportunities for that in our churches. What does that look like? I'm not saying you have to scrap the whole Sunday morning program and you can't do anything fun and it just has to be about military style training and memorization and punching through these lists. No, but or I should say it this way, you have to have something for the kids that aren't passionate about growing spiritually, discovering their gifts, to awaken that. And so you need something that might have a little bit of fun for the purpose of awakening them to serving, to allowing God to flow through them to help others. Those that have that passion, we got to give them an outlet now. We got to start creating things like what we did is the CIA. While we were children's pastors, we ran this program called CIA, which was Children in Action. And we took those older kids in the children's ministry that were starting to pull away and they're like, this is kiddie stuff. I don't think I can really be a part of this anymore. I'm so old now. I should go to youth group. We started utilizing those kids to begin serving in the room, and we would find out. We would do spiritual gifts training. We would do the online test. There's the what is it called? The Spiritual Gifts 2.0 test. I'm spacing out. Anyway, well, there's a kid version of that. Message me if you're interested. I can get you the link. And there's a spiritual gifts test for kids, and they could find out what they're good at. And then we would start plugging them in. So if it was they were real dramatic and they had a flair for teaching or training, we used them in skits or had them teach the tithe and offering lesson and begin developing those gifts. If they were super techie or more withdrawn, we gave them other opportunities within the room, maybe in the sound booth to run the sound or the lighting, maybe run a camera, run different aspects in the room so that they could develop those gifts. Side note, I can't stand when the adult sanctuary has a completely different soundboard, lightboard, microphones, everything than the youth have. And then the youth have a completely different brand name and setup of everything as well. And so why would we do that? Why not just get the big nice version if we have to do that for the adult service, and then get a smaller version of that same brand name, same style for youth and for children, so that kids can become cross-trained even on expectations in the room, whether it's youth or children's or college. Pair it with what they expect in the adult services, what they expect of our adult volunteers, so that when they're learning how to serve in your area, you're preparing them to be a part of the church, not just serve your will well. I know that sounds rough, doesn't it? It kind of is, and it kind of needs to be. We're way too silo ministried instead of being purposeful, one church, growing kids from 0 all the way to 99 with the mission of the church. Why not? That makes so much more sense. Anyway, so let me tell you a story. Winston, age 8. He's our middle son, and you know what he loves to do at church? Serve. You're thinking, how does he have a spot to serve? You know where he serves? In the nursery. That's right. Our 8-year-old son asks almost every week the volunteers that are in there if he can come and serve. And those volunteers, we check in with them after every service, and they say he does an outstanding job of loving those kids well and helping however he's asked with a great attitude. He's learning to serve. He's learning to use his gifts, and he's 8 years old. Why can't we start opening up opportunities for that? Let me hit this real fast, and then I know this is kind of longer than most. 1, it's a biblical principle: give and it should be given to you. So if you have kids that you know need to feel more loved, or need more joy in their life, or need whatever it is, find a way for them to give the thing they need, because then they will receive it back. Pressed down, shaken together, running over, right? You know the verse, Luke 6:38. It's a biblical principle that goes far beyond just giving in the offering time. So provide ways for kids to give. Last one, actually, no, I'm not even going to hit that one. So I think I hit it hard enough. If you have questions about how to do this, message us. We're here for you. We're not here just to do these cute little videos so that people can watch them and take it a little bit farther. Do you know we actually coach ministry teams? We coach children's pastors or the leadership, and then we also will come in and equip the whole leadership team, either by in person, and we travel there, or via something like Zoom or something over the web. So think about that. Also check out rootkidman.com for the curriculum tools that are built not just to entertain kids, but to take them farther, take them into spiritual growth. Pause for a sec. I said contact us about coaching and that kind of thing. That's at our parent website, Root of Revival. Some of you are like, what? Root of Revival? Yep, it's right there. Root of Revival is our parent company of all these other websites you see in the back, and we're actually working on a couple more. It's crazy, I know, but God has called us to equip churches and families to grow spiritually and to help others do the same. So contact us if you have questions about how to launch a student leadership program in your ministry or open up opportunities to serve. We would love to help you. All right. Well, that is it for me. I will see you all tomorrow. Tomorrow, I'm ending. Part 4 is all about what I would say is the most important thing, because if we can build this into every service, or at least the vast majority of services, you're going to equip kids, youth, adults, parents to be able to represent your church and God well in any circumstance, in any situation, by doing this one thing that I'll talk about tomorrow. All right. Well, that's it for me. I'll see you all later.